Hello and welcome to another episode of the Kennel NRL podcast where we talk Bulldogs, NRL, and everything rugby league. Today, as you guys can see, we have a very, very special guest to discuss and preview the upcoming game of the Bulldogs against the Knights on Sunday at 2 p.m. at Accor Stadium. Can I please give a very, very, very warm welcome to Lincoln from the United. Welcome, Lincoln. Thanks for joining, man.
Thanks for having me on, brother. Absolute pleasure, pal. Absolute pleasure.
And Lincoln was, man, it was amazing. We pretty much put this together in a few days, and very, very excited to talk. Look, let me be honest with you. I think the one team that I've hated over the last 12 months the most is got to be the Knights, because you guys absolutely destroyed us last year in both games. It was like 108 to 6 in terms of points scored. You guys decimated both rounds. And if you remember last year, the first time when you guys smashed us 66-0, I think you guys were only 2 points ahead of us, or I think we may have been on equal points if you consider the bye. And then you guys beat us 66-0. We played you guys into form, and you pretty much didn't lose a game for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I after hearing that from a Bulldog supporter, I don't think I thanked the Bulldog supporter for that. That really did, truly, like for us Knight supporters, it was a tale of two seasons. Like, we come in, Kalen Ponga's 5'8", then you get those horrific concussions. He's over in Canada. We lose our captain and Jane Brayley. We couldn't string two wins together. And then, unfortunately for you guys, we roll into that game in July. Not gonna lie, we pounded us into the earth, 66-0, our greatest win as a club. Unfortunately, I think the correct term you're looking for, Abdul, is aggregate score. When we talked about it the other week, the greatest aggregate score of 108 to 6. And yeah, it did truly springboard our season. Whatever it did, it gave us the confidence to go on that magical 10-game win streak. But yeah, certainly a game for us to remember, and probably one that you'd like to forget as a Bulldog supporter. But it really just goes to show you, doesn't it? Like, once a team starts playing with a bit of confidence, their fortunes can absolutely change. And that's what that game gave us. So I can't thank you enough, mate. I truly cannot thank you enough for that.
Sorry, I'm going to have to copy you because it seems like my hat was causing a shadow on my face. So look at us. We're twinsies. Twinsies, bro. Twinsies.
You got the hat color right, mate. You might want to get a bit of red in that jersey, though.
Oh, listen, man. Listen, now. All right. Well, after what you just said, and then telling me you want me to get some red in that jersey, I got to push back. I actually don't want to forget that match because it's one of those games where I hope the players watch that match maybe every single day until Sunday, so that they remember exactly what the fans and the players went through last year against the Knights. And I'm hoping we come out on Sunday and try and avenge that aggregate score from last year. Because, like, to be honest, it did springboard you, but you guys had that potential. And Kalen Ponga went on a run, probably reminiscent of Hayne, Barber, Turbo, when they went on their run sort of in the previous years. And, Kalen really showed why he's such a special talent. And, you guys going in and out on a limb and signing him up for so long and for so much money will pay you dividends, especially when the whole team starts to play around him. Now, I wanted to sort of ask you a little bit about the halves situation at the Knights.
Yes, it's the hot topic with our club at the moment. Yes, the halves headache. Yeah, it's
What do you think is the right, is the right combination? Do you think it's Hastings and Gamble? Is it Hastings and Cogger? Is it Cogger and Hastings?
Now, look, I hate sitting on the fence on this, mate, because I'm literally getting splinters in my ass on this one. But truly, it's hard because I was thinking about this today because to go on that 10-game win streak, you've got to be doing a lot right. And I think what can happen to fans and coaches is maybe overanalyze too much. We saw what Jack Cogger did in the grand final. For that 20 minutes of grand final, was great. Awesome. But maybe we put that 20 minutes on too much of a pedestal. And then, Gamble didn't trial great. So it's not like he came in and he knocked the door down. Trials footy's one thing, I guess, and regular footy's another thing. But it's not like Gamble came out and said, no, this 6 jersey is mine. But look, a couple of the defensive deficiencies that we sort of broke down from our game against the Roosters, a lot of it was from Jack Cogger, and I'm sure we're going to be touching on this later. I think Cameron Serraldo is absolutely going to identify some deficiencies in that right edge, especially when you got Bronson Sherry just with the amount of line break assists. You had Villiama kick out. I think he's ranked 10th in line break assists. Defensively, Cogger's is getting found out a little bit, sorry, Tyson Gamble shores that up a little bit more, and particularly in support plays, because he's the guy. If you go back and watch a lot of our tape, the guy that's always seemed to be pushing is always Tyson Gamble, super competitive player. So had Tyson Gamble been there last week against the Roosters when Kalen made that break, mate, he's there. He's absolutely there. So look, this game is the 80 minutes Jack Cogger needs to prove. If we drop this game, because let's be honest, they got us coming in as favourites. I think we need a strong performance, a very, very strong performance from Jack Cogger, because Tyson Gamble in Cup, mate, led one of the biggest comebacks for us. When we had 26-0, and we come back and beat the Roosters 30-0 in Cup, and he killed it without Will Price, his halves partner. So he was pretty much running the whole show. So Gamble's found a bit of form bound in Reggie's. Mate, it's defining. It's defining. But I'm going to tell you now, do not be surprised at all if Adam O'Brien does a switcheroo on you guys. I would not at all be surprised if you see Tyson Gamble running out there come Sunday.
Speaking of switcheroos, just looking at the Dogs team that's been named, I would say that it's almost close to impossible that this is the team that runs out against the Knights on Sunday, considering we've got 3 small blokes and 1 prop that barely plays 20 minutes. I think he's got, Serraldo's been doing this quite often, where he does some massive changes. Like against the Roosters, the team that was named against the Roosters was, I don't know, 3 or 4 players, were completely changed. Some players weren't even named in the team. They were starting. So I would say that they're, the team that runs out on Sunday is not going to be the one that was named. I think that's the first thing. Now, on the point of Jack Cogger and Jackson Hastings, what I'm sort of feeling from the Knights and watching the games and stuff like that is, and I said this about Drew Hutchison with the Bulldogs, is I think that Adam O'Brien needs to pick and stick.
Yeah,
because if you keep changing, you get no fluency. Like you look at Burton last year, had multiple halves partners, wasn't able to build any rhythm, and wasn't able to unlock kick out, and kick out was injured. So that inconsistency ruined his ability to show us what he can do, how he can get the ball early and actually take runs. You look at the last 3-4 rounds, and look, kick out is Godzilla. I think that's kick out's new nickname for me. Kick out is Godzilla. The bloke he's running over, he's not just running over halves and centers and stuff. He's running over second rows. Like he absolutely obliterated Angus Crichton for the Roosters. Like Angus Crichton was a speed bump, right? Yeah. But that doesn't happen without Matt Burton giving him early ball. And if you notice, I'm not sure if you watched the Dogs Storm game, but if you look at how early Burton was getting ball to kick out, it was almost immediate. Like Burton would just be like, take the ball and run. Like it was just like off. And when you've got Sherry, who's incredibly quick, and then Fox, who's even quicker on the outside, even if teams plan for it, it's going to be hard to stop.
Yeah, that left edge we spoke about on our team list show yesterday, pretty scary, man. Like our left edge with Kai Pearce-Paul, Bradman Best, Greggy Marzu may get the switch back to that left edge. Was a big proponent for a lot of games, like winning a lot of games last year, and I'm pretty impressed. Like I said to our listeners, like do not write off the Dogs, because that back line that you do have here, where's your backs here? Like Jacob Carraz, Steve, we all know what Stephen Crichton is. We all know what you bought in Stephen Crichton, absolute superstar of the game. Bronson Cherry only playing, 2 games thus far for you boys? Is that right?
That's right. 2 games, yeah,
mate,
2 games.
2 games, and what he's managed to do with linking up with Josh Adokar, mate, it's potent. It's potent, particularly that left side. I think it's pretty well balanced, but yeah, given what Birdo's given, yeah, as you said, shifting the ball out, running great shape to kick out, worries me. Worries me a lot, especially
It's good to hear.
too,
It's good to hear.
especially given I would be a little less worried if we had Tyson Frizzell. Tyson Frizzell, absolute
Yeah, 100%.
stalwart veteran on the edge.
100%.
I think Dylan Lucas is good. I think he's our the last couple of weeks he's been making the most amount of tackles, leading tackles. I think he was around 45 plus tackles a game. Unfortunately, he did miss a couple, and Gags. Him and Gags are actually, I think Gags had 9 missed tackles, something like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And then Lucas with a 6. But it can be a bit of a misleading statistic. And I think the intangible is Cogger. You saw Cogger seems to have a tendency with rookie players, from what we've seen in the small sample size, not backing him so much. So I really hope they've done their tape, and I guarantee you Adam O'Brien and co are prepared for the Bulldogs just to be absolutely seeing everything they can down that right edge. Not only that, too, the other big thing you guys have also in your favour that worries me a bit is Josh Addo-Carr up against Greggy Marzu. We know Marzu's not the tallest winger. Like, he'll break your tackles for days. Towards the end of last year, he was getting Brian Toto numbers. He was averaging over 200 run meters. He was sensational.
Yeah, it was actually quite incredible. Yeah,
very, very good, but not the Dom Young.
Yeah,
we had the taller wing on the other side. So does worry me a little bit if we don't make that shift with Anari. We're going to get on the end of some of these bombs from Birdo, which he absolutely sends into orbit. That does worry me a little bit. So I'm absolutely preparing myself for that left edge assault from the Bulldogs. But I think that's where you're going to come down to getting your points. It looks good, man. It looks good. As I said,
I agree with that. Yeah, look, I completely agree. Sorry to cut you off. I was just going to say, I completely agree with what you're saying, especially because Dane Gagai sort of towards the end of his career, he's lost some of that speed that he had. And Greg Marzu, he's quick, but he's not
Dom Young quick.
Or Josh Addo-Carr quick.
Yeah.
And, both of them in lining up, Sherry and Fox up against Marju and Gagai, if that ends up being the confrontation, it could be very good for us. But at the same time, if we get too ahead of ourselves, Dan Gagai and Greg Marju, like Dan Gagai just seems to swap players off him like nothing. And if you don't tackle him first time, he'll offload the ball, he'll kill you. That's what he's done in Origin for 10 years. People underestimating him, and then he's just absolutely tearing them to shreds. I like the face off between Crichton and Best. I think Crichton up against Best, that'll be a very, very good one. Best can be just an absolute attacking beast, and Crichton, we know how good he is in defense. So that'll be quite interesting as well. Wanted to ask you, do you think Kalen Ponga will play, or is his hip flexor? You think he'll play?
No, 100%, mate. Put your house on it. He'll play. It's more of a pain management thing at this point. Like, obviously, a very, very painful injury. More or less just a really bad bruise. So unless he cops a big knock there, mate, it's just going to be more pain management than anything. I haven't heard any mail from anywhere suggesting that he won't be playing. Like, I know we got Davey Armstrong in reserves name there, but I don't think so, mate. I think, unfortunately for you guys, you're going to have to play against Kalen Ponga, pal. Sorry to break it to you, brother, but yes.
No, to be honest, I look, obviously, if he wasn't playing, I'd be a lot happier. But him playing just means that you've got to be, the team has to be on the ball. Like we had, we came up against Melbourne, and they had their spine like for the first or second time in 5 years or something like that. And I thought we handled that quite well. We handled Pappenhausen well, and while I think, obviously Ponga's in much better shape, it's also going to keep the Dogs on our toes. And it's one of those games for us that I think doesn't make or break our season, but it goes a long way to indicating where we sort of end up at the end of the year. Because I sort of believe that the way we've been playing the last 4 weeks, we're a top 8 team. I know that's jumping the gun a lot. And, last night on the live stream, I was saying, that's a hill I'm going to die on, right? But I genuinely believe if we can be consistent and avoid too many injuries, come towards the end of the year, we're going to be up there, I think, challenging for the 8. We might not make it. We might go 9, 10 or whatever, but I reckon we'll be challenging for the 8. And I think the Knights will be too, if they can get a bit more consistency as well.
Oh, yeah. Look, we took quite a few questions on the Sunday show, and people are like, do you think we make the 8? All this stuff, and I'm like, mate, I'm not hitting panic stations at all. Like, obviously, you want to win every week. Of course, you want to win, but for us, and believe it or not, when we broke down leading into this game, it's crazy how similar the Bulldogs and the Knights actually are. I think you guys are 15th on the ladder, we're 14th.
Yeah.
I think even the games rolling in has been like loss, win, loss, win. You guys are -7, we're -5. Very close, very
So
very
close.
close.
Unbelievable.
It's only two point score difference. That's been basically it. So coming into this game, similar in that regard. But yeah, getting back to Kalen Ponga, it still just amazes me. Like I said, I sit back on this couch and I wonder what, jokingly I said this, I wonder if our players are just sitting back and shaking their head and marveling at what this guy can do. And maybe that's why they're not supporting the guy. They're just like, you know what I mean? You just
absolutely.
and they know it's coming. These kick returns, and one of the great things Kalen Pong has done this year is obviously we rewatch his games over and over and analyze what he does. More squaring up. We all know what he can do from dancing on the outside, the cutout balls, but some of the stuff we've seen from coming off that right foot and really trying to and run through some defenders, and it's worked. It's actually worked. So. Yeah, I'd hate to be a coach trying to work out how on earth you best shut down Kalen Ponga, because thus far, no one's really been able to achieve it yet. Because last week, he was the only guy that managed to keep us in that game, particularly with all dead. It was absolutely incredible. So, yes, very good. Very, very good.
It's such a pleasure to watch. Like even for Queensland, like I hate Queensland with a real passion. As a
we can agree on that, pal. At least we can
agree. Man, and watching him do some of the things that he does for Queensland when he was playing, like it's just it just blows my mind that this guy is just so talented. It's ridiculous. Like I rate Reece Walsh as a fullback, but I don't think he's as good as Kalen Ponga. That's my honest truth. I don't think Reece Walsh is as good as Kalen Ponga.
I'll die on that hill too, but unfortunately, I always sound incredibly biased. But yeah, if someone told me you can either sign Reece Walsh for 10 years or you can sign Kalen Ponga for 10 years, mate, I'm taking KP every day of the week.
Every day of the week. Honestly, every day of the week.
Yeah.
It's
actually funny. I was going to say, it's actually funny. So before season kicked, I was actually just before we kicked off the game at Las Vegas, we interviewed. Do you remember a player, Matthew Gidley?
Yes, of course.
Matt Gidley, Matt and Kurt. So Matt had a really interesting career. Obviously, won a premiership with us. Went on, had played a lot of rep footy and stuff, and then he ended up coming back after his time in the Super League and became our CEO during the darkest of ages for us. So we know what you guys are going through. The back wooden spoons, all that stuff. Anyways. I was so looking forward to asking him the question because he was the guy. He was the CEO at that point of time when we signed Kalen Ponga, the infamous 6-year deal. It was, I think, 600,000 at the time. And I remember it was all the headlines. You had buzz and all that going on. What are the Knights doing? They're crazy. And I was like, mate, what was at that point in time? Like, what did you see? Because have you seen the movie, that Air Jordan movie?
You know, I haven't seen it. I don't know what I'm talking about. I haven't seen it yet. No.
Mate, there's a scene there, right? You got Matt Damon. Matt Damon's there to try and scout who Nike are going to get, who's the prospects, right? And they always pick these middle of the road kind of guys. No kind of superstars. They kind of play it safe. They haven't got the big budget. It's just eerily similar. The where the Knights were at the point, the small dogs weren't winning anything. You had the Converse that were killing it. They had this small budget. Anyways, Matt Damon's character goes to Ben Affleck's character. He's the owner of Nike, right? He's like, mate, this guy, Michael Jordan, push everything on. This kid is it. You got to go all in on Jordan, right? And I asked Matt the same thing. Matt, you watched this movie, man? He goes, yeah, I did. I said, it reminded me a lot of you in that situation. Like when they came to you, he's this kid. He's played 2 or 3 games with the Cowboys. I think he was 18, 19 years old at the time. Completely unproven. We all saw what we could, we all saw the glimpses. When they came to you and you had to go, yeah, let's do this. And he goes, mate, truly there was no hesitation. There was no hesitation. Wow. We saw Darren Mooney did at the time, all the tape, and we were just all in. We're just all in on KP. And it's at the moment, Kalen Ponga is our Michael Jordan. He's absolutely our
Yeah.
Michael Jordan
Yeah.
in this era. And every club needs that guy.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
I'm so happy for you, Doggy supporter, because I believe Stephen Crichton's going to be that for you guys, 100%.
I actually think his influence is already starting to impact our team. But if I'm honest with you, at the moment, I think the person that has the most potential to become our Michael Jordan is Matt Burton.
Yeah, I like
think that
Birdo.
I think Burton hasn't even started to scratch scratch the surface of his potential. Like honestly, a lot of our fans were a little bit harsh on Burton because he missed the kicks from the sideline, or he made some poor decisions against the Storm. But I think one of the problems I have with Drew Hutchison at 7. Look, I think Drew Hutchison adds a lot to the team defensively, but I think in attack we need a 7 that can do more for us. Because what I've realized from Matt Burton is not only is he sort of now starting to run the ball more, starting to straighten the attack, passing the ball out to Kikau, getting Kikau into good position so that he can offload to Sherry and Fox, but he's also game managing. So he's doing all the kicking, he's doing all the fifths and lasts. And look, Burton doesn't have a bad kicking game, but when you have to do all of it at once and your 7 isn't really there in support, I feel like it adds unnecessary pressure. And Drew Hutchison's playing more like a second lock as he is playing more than he is playing a 7. And I think a lot of Doggies fans, that really are hoping to see a change from either a change from Drew Hutchison or someone else coming into that position, because everyone's putting this blame on Burton as though it's sort of his fault. But I honestly believe that if Burton stays in this consistency or in this form consistently to the end of the year, he's going to be the top 3 or 4 5/8s in the game by the end of the year, without a doubt. He's on fire.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very similar. Like you can sort of draw somewhat comparison, say like a Luke Brooks. A lot of people, you would have had so many people to say, he's garbage, he's rubbish, he's terrible.
Yeah.
You pluck him out and you pair him with some quality players in and around him, bro, the guy flourishes. It's no surprise. So, like you guys, look, trust me, brother. I know exactly what you guys have gone through. We have gone through the rebuild of rebuild, so I know exactly where you've been. The jokes of being patient, that I sympathise with you, all right? I genuinely sympathise with you, all you Dog supporters. Us Knight supporters, trust me, to all the listeners, we get it. We get it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We get it. But it's great. Like I'd really like Matty Burton. People forget, like, mate, in Origin, that guy was like, he was good. I really rated Matty Burton.
Yeah.
The fact too, he was throwing down against Queenslanders too. Added points for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I reckon he's a gun, man. I really do like Matty Burton. And similar to what you were sort of saying, I find Jackson Hastings for us cops a lot of unfair criticism. Like we know he's got a little bit of a checkered past. That shouldn't really matter. I don't think that should really come into the equation. That's more media sort of stuff, dragging that stuff through the mud. Again, go circling back to what you said originally about chopping and chains and halves. And that it's no wonder it's going to affect. It's going to affect your half or your 5/8 if you're going to constantly chop and change out the other one and expect it to work a 10 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10 every week. It's just not me. It just isn't. Yeah. Unless you're an absolute gun like Nathan Cleary, which you could put 10-year-olds next to him and he'll still probably beat you. But
But and I mean, their systems at the Panthers, like I don't know, bro, what they've got in that water, bro. They must have like magic juice or potion or some shit in the water, because man, they just like James Fisher Harris just signed with the Warriors for 2025. What the heck was that,
dude? Talk about out of nowhere. Yeah, I was really worried about the Warriors. You think, oh boy, Adam Fanua-Blake. I love seeing I don't know where you stand on the Warriors. I absolutely love seeing the Warriors kill it.
I love the Warriors.
Greatest fan bases. Love seeing them super competitive. And then, God, it was such a massive blow for him to lose Adam Fanua-Blake. You're like, oh, who's on the? How do you you guys would know, because you guys have been sort of one of the clubs absolutely trying to land a blue chip prop forward.
Yeah,
and you go, there's none anywhere. They're all signed up, and then out of nowhere, what a replacement. You get probably one of the top 3 props in the game up there. You're paying us as AFB, and then James Fisher Harris
and Tino's as well, but.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like I actually think they got the better end of that deal because I reckon James Fisher Harris is a better player than Adam Fanua Blake. I love Adam Fanua Blake. I think Adam Fanua
Yeah.
Blake's amazing, but I think James Fisher Harris. There's just something about his aggression, the way he runs the ball back, his work ethic. He plays long minutes. Personally, I think that Warriors are actually better off with Fisher Harris than they are with Adam Fanua Blake. But it's just very fortuitous for them to be able to do that. And
Oh,
look, I love the Warriors. They're the Kennel Podcast's second team every single year. Like I
yeah.
want them. I want them to be in the grand final. I want them to win. Like if I know the Doggies won't win it this year, the only other team I want to win this year is the Warriors. That's it. I want the Warriors to win it. Like I'm
Yeah.
full steam ahead behind them. Honestly.
When we lost the last
Yeah.
game, last finals game, I'll tell you what losing sucks. Losing a finals sucks, especially, mate. We got too used to winning. It was great. It was a great 10 weeks. We hadn't lost a game. But to go to New Zealand and to lose to New Zealand, I tell you what, it softened the blow. And then we went live that Sunday. It was incredible. Old mate who gets up and does the shoey in front of the coach's
Yeah.
the guy that does like the Joker face paint. They shared their live stream, and we just got inundated with Warrior supporters.
That's
And
amazing.
mate, that was so gracious. And ever since then, mate, I've been like good on the Wars. Like truly, I always liked the Wars, but now they're right up there for me. I really,
for sure.
of all the clubs that win a grand final, they're right up there for me. But yeah, they landed a good one. I'd be keen to know actually on the while we're talking about prop forwards, were you guys actually ever a chance of getting Tino? Because that was a thing, right? Weren't you guys like a sniff?
We were, but I think the Gold Coast Titans sort of let Tino know that in the future that I think Desi was coming across, and so he decided to sort of pump the brakes on it. But the Bulldogs were trying to pull some moves to get Tino for sure. We were trying to get Payne Haas, we were trying to get Adam Fanua Blake, but Phil Gould didn't want to be too top heavy with props and pay too much for a prop either. We've got a lot of good young guys coming through. Like Sam Hughes is starting to show potential. We got Jack Todd and Lipoi Hipoi and a few others in the juniors that I think will give him a couple of years and we're going to have a really stacked forward pack. But that's not to say that we're not looking for props. Like we tried to get Terrell May, but again probably wanted a little bit too much. So
that's right.
It is what it is.
Yeah, because it looked like it was going to be a brothers deal, eh? You're going to get him and his brother Tyler May, hey?
Yeah, and apparently Tyrone as well. But look, I'm honestly happy we didn't end up getting him. I don't think we needed another center. And Tyrone, he's got a bit of a checkered past. We don't need another, Jamin Salmon. I think because Tyrone plays very similar to Jamin Salmon. So yeah, I'm okay not overpaying for three brothers just to get the one prop forward. I just don't think it would have been good business. I wanted to ask you from your team, who do you like for this game?
On our team,
yeah,
who I think is going to have a really big game.
Yeah, who do you think can win it for you guys? Other than obviously Kalen, you can say Kalen, but who do you think will?
We'll take Kalen out of the equation. Do you know a guy who's? And the reason I'm going to say this is because you're only just starting to scratch the surface, and this guy came into our club. We knew what he could bring, but coming into this year, he's done all the fundamentals right. His defense has been great. He's not slipping off tackles. He's not getting bad reads. He's doing all the good stuff. I'm telling you now, mate, Kai Pearce-Paul will be one of the best back rowers by the end of the year. It is scary, mate. I think coaches are sitting here, and the cool part is they can't do too much video because we haven't quite seen it unlocked. And we said on the show, some of the night sports getting a little bit frustrated. He's not doing anything wrong, right? He's getting the tackles in, and you saw him jam Lindsay, mate. He folded Lindsay Collins.
Yeah, he did.
Twice.
Yeah.
The bloke's about as big as I am. He's about 200 centimeters. And to get that low, props to the guy to jam him. So he's getting all that. He's getting all that right. You get these players, they're all flashy, and that's all well and good. They get the mad line breaks and all this stuff, but then they're falling off tackles and letting in tries. He's come in. We see the baseline. He's got a good defense. He's plugged into the system. But, mate, once these offloads start to come in, because there's been quite a few times we haven't quite worked him out with Brady and KP. There's been quite a few times where He's looking to get the offload because he is so goddamn hard to get on the ground. He's so rangy. You just saw him like brush Egan Butcher and Connor Watson, even Joey Marnie just, see you later. Mate, looking very good. We were sort of a bit disappointed we lost Fitzy because Fitzy really had quite a good link up with Brady and KP. But boy, oh boy, Kai Pearce-Paul, mate, watch this space. Watch this space. He is elite, brother. He is elite. And actually, he was compared to, I know, big shoes to one of your greats, Sonny Bill Williams. That was the title thrown around. I know.
Wow,
massive.
That's a
massive
big.
I know. It's unfair. I've never gone on record to say that, but he was what they were calling the English Sonny Bill Williams. That's what they were calling him over there. And watching some of the tape, like immediately once the news came out, we'd sign him and whatever. Like the first thing I went and did is go look at both Will Price and Kai Pearce-Paul's highlights, and I was like, ooh, I like this. I like this a lot.
Yeah.
So didn't expect it to happen this quickly, but yeah. Watch this space, man. Kai Pearce-Paul is getting better and better and better and better. So yeah, hopefully I've got him down for his first try this week, mate.
Hopefully not against the Doggies. Hopefully not. But look, I think Kai Pearce-Paul is definitely one we have to be very careful of. He's got that offload. And actually, when the Knights signed him, there was rumors around him wanting to come to the NRL, and he was one of those players I thought, man, I would love to get him at the Dogs. Him and Will Price, I think, are both great, and they're still young. They've got great potential, and they're sort of malleable to be able to play the way the team needs as well. But yeah, look, I agree with that. I think Kai Pearce will be one to definitely look out for. I think our biggest, the one we have to look out for the most, I think, other than say Kai Pearce-Paul or Callum Ponga, would be Dane Gagai. He always seems to play very, very well against the Doggies, and he always burns us at centre every single time. So for me, that's the danger.
Well, do you want to hear a funny statistic? So Sean, who I do the podcast with, mate, he spends hours sifting through every statistic you could possibly think of, right? This blew my mind. This actually blew my mind. The night that has scored the most tries ever against the Bulldogs is actually Bradman Best.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. I said, was that just in the NRL era? He goes, no, literally, since we came in 88, he's the player for the Knights who scored the most the most tries against the Bulldogs, which I found phenomenal because he debuted in the 2019. But he's triple checked it. So there you go.
He's killing it. He's killing us.
So
good thing is we've got Crichton lined up against him, so hopefully he gets none. Doesn't add to that tally against the Doggies. I'll be sure to keep an eye out, make sure he doesn't. I'll send you a message to you, bro. Hey, he didn't get one, or if he got one, I'm gonna be spewing. If he gets one. I'm telling you.
I think both of our right edges are gonna have. I think your left edge and our left edge are the spearhead of the attack. But don't get it twisted. Gags an early ball. One criticism I will not give Cogger. You can criticize his performances thus far, but he is quite good at getting that early ball. Like you were saying with Birdo, getting that pass out, the kick out pretty quickly. Cogs does that pretty well because one thing we identified against the Roosters in the second half was getting a lot of traffic at Junior Ponga, and Gags just had a bee in his body. He wanted to run over that kid all night. So yeah, Cogs didn't mess around, just getting that ball straight at the Gags and just letting him do what he does best. Because I'm pretty sure, in this point in time, he's our leading tackle breaker, and he's winding back the clock. Gags, he's not playing like a 32-year-old man.
Well.
He's expensive.
It's crazy, and he's lined up against Bronson Sherry. So I just wonder if Sherry still has some rust in him. But you know what? Last week Sherry defended and he ran like he hadn't missed a beat. He ran like he wasn't even out for 4 years, and he tackled just as hard. So, I'm very, very interested to see how Bronson Sherry defends it against Dane Gagai. For us, I like, I'm not going to say kick out because kick out is sort of the obvious one for us. I think one bloke that's going to absolutely, tear shreds against you guys is going to be Jacob Kiraz. I actually have Jacob Kiraz doing very, very well against the Knights. I mean, he ran for over 300 meters against the Storm, 88 post contact. He had so many tackle breaks. I was going to say the Fox, but I think we sort of spoke about the Fox a little bit earlier. If we get early ball out to kick out, I actually feel sorry for both Greg Marju and Inari Tuala, because I think that because of the speedster in Bronte area inside Fox, if we are able to get early ball, I think that you guys are quite you guys have shown that you're playing well enough, but you're still vulnerable. And one thing we've been able to do is play well against teams that are showing some vulnerability. Granted, we've only won 2 games. I still, I think that we've shown so much in attack to be able to capitalize on some of the vulnerabilities in defense.
Yeah, and that's good coaching 101, man. Is one of the great, like, remember when Joey was just absolutely livid? Remember it was 5-6 years ago when Thurston's shoulders hanging off and we're just not running a Jonathan Thurston. Everyone of them watching the game's mate, what are you doing? Run there. So yeah, that just goes to show you great coaching when you can identify a weakness and execute it.
Yes.
So yes, I guarantee you, Adam O'Brien and co, mate, have been doing lots of drills with Dylan Lucas, Jack Cogger, and Gags, because last week Gags has been missing quite a few tackles. I know missed tackles it's a funny statistics. It's no 2 missed tackles are the same. So
that's right.
But Cogger, man. As I said, I won't be surprised if we see a late switch and we get Gamble back in there. However, because the other thing I didn't mention either is without KP, unfortunately, we're not blessed with the boot of Matty Burton in the halves.
Yeah.
Neither of our halves have a long kicking game, which sucks, because once KP was off and you could barely run, you'd kick a football. Geez. It just made the work for our back five so much harder, because we weren't getting the distance on the kicks. The Roosters were just forever kicking in our half and just made life difficult. So, don't take it for granted, mate. That big boot of Matty Burns, because clubs would absolutely love to have that. It's one thing we did have.
He and Stephen Crichton and Jacob Kiraz, we have a lot of, and Sam Hughes, they're the 4 I think that are going to be mainstays at the Bulldogs for I would say the next 5 to 10 years if we build the team around them, because Matt Burton is still so young, Crichton is still so young, Kiraz is 22, Sam Hughes is 21, 22. They are the future, and Matt Burton is the one that's going to be at the tip of that. Him and Crichton, they're going to be the tip of the spear, because again, and even Doggies fans don't realize just how well Matt Burton has actually played. He has played out of his skin. He went from averaging 40 meters a game to running 150 a game. There's been after that Eels game, there was, or was I think the Sharks game, there was a big shift in the way he started playing, and it's getting better and better every week. And it takes a keen eye to realize, or to understand, that kick out doesn't do what he does without Burton next to him.
Definitely.
It's not just as simple as kick out is just running. He's running flat-footed and he's he's able to run these play. No, Burton's getting him good ball while the defense is running back. He's passing at the right time. He's identifying that maybe it's a 2-on-2 or a 3-on-3, and he's getting kick out ball straight to the chest, where he's able to run over a smaller player. These things are so nuanced as a 5'8". It's not just I'm just going to pick it up and throw it. Do you know what I'm saying? He's doing so much work.
Oh yeah. Because when did because you lost, because obviously he was a massive blow for you last year. What did he do, a peck or something? It was something pretty crazy.
He did a peck, and then he came back and he was injured, and then he did a peck. So he went out for the first 4 weeks with a HIA or something, and then during his training when he had his HIA, he did a peck, and then he was out for, I think he only played 7 or 8 games last year.
Yeah. So it takes time to get these things clicking. So 100%. Going back to what even your back line, even seeing some shape that you're running on the left, it's pretty remarkable how I know it's early days, but from the outside looking in at the Doggies, mate, very, very, very good signs. Very good signs. You're building quite nicely. But I'm actually keen to ask you, what Stephen Crichton is his future always going to be a centre?
That's the $1 million question. Doggies fans and NRL commentators and heaps of podcasts, it's the same. it's one of those things, like as you said before, it's about, with Gamble and Cogger, it's like I hate sitting on the fence about this because I'm just not sure. But like I don't think he's a natural.
I was going to say, because it sort of reminds me like of Joey Manu, like a great player. Don't get me wrong, like, a great center in that. But then once the guy starts touching the ball 20, 30 times a game, you're like, oh, how can you have this guy just sit on an edge? And then Crichton's like, some of the clutch plays, whether it be in a grand final for the Blues, whatever, like the guy's just an out gun. And you're just like, oh, I'm just curious. It's easy for us supporters who don't sort of dissect the game too closely as you would your own games. But interested, what you would think 5 years from now, is Stephen Crichton still playing centre or?
Yeah, again, like I personally think that I would love to give him a crack at fullback, like have a whole preseason there, and then start him at fullback, base your attack around him, base the defense around him at fullback. Because the thing about fullback is it's not just about being able to run the meters. I think positioning is so important in defense, and when taking kicks, for example, being able to identify where there are any gaps in the opposition defensive line, and slotting in to give off the last pass, or to give a pass away to your center that can run out. Speed, consistency, fitness. Like there's so many different parts to the fullback game that, like, it's either you put him there and you keep him, or he stays a center. Whether he's there long term, I think his future is at fullback. But if it's not now, or in 2025, he'll start to lose pace. By the time he hits 26, 27, 28, it's like, do you really want him at fullback after he's lost the pace, or do you start him at fullback when he's 23, 24? I would love to see him at fullback.
He's just so athletic, strong. Yeah, great
ridiculous.
hands.
He's amazing.
Yeah. He's I know there's not too many locks in for New South Wales, but boy, I don't know how you leave him.
He's got to be one of them. He's got to be one of them.
There's got to be a couple
him
there.
And Haas.
Him, Haas, Cleary.
Yeah.
They've got to be locks. Have to be locked in for sure. Turbo. Yeah, Turbo's going to be in there. Turbo will be there.
Yeah. Look, I think Turbo's been playing good, and he's only going to get better. And he's, as long as he doesn't injure himself like he did in Game 2 last year, he'll win the game for us single-handedly. Like, I would love to see Latrell do well again, and take that center spot back in New South Wales. But then you have to think about you sacrificing Stephen Crichton, and you think, well, Crichton's still consistent, playing well. So do you really want to?
I cannot stand when they pick players of what they did prior seasons, when you got guys absolutely killing it week in, week out in Clubland. It is the bane of my existence. I cannot stand that. I don't care. It annoys me when these guys, they did it 12, 18 months ago. I don't care. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. I think that was a very Fittler thing. I think that was always like a characteristic of the team. Like, he chose TPJ last year. I was shocked, even though he's a Doggies player. I was like, I don't know if that's the right decision. He made a few blunders, but look, he's hoping.
What do you make of Tavita Pangai? Does that leave a bad taste in your mouth when he leaves the way he does, and then he sort of goes to the Broncos, and he's sort of like more good riddance, or I don't know. I'd imagine I'd be a bit peeved.
Look, I honestly believe that it worked out for the best for both parties. I wish him all the best. I hope he succeeds in everything that he does. Honestly, even if he comes back to the Broncos and kills it, I just think, look, the club agreed mutually to part ways. There was obviously something there that he wasn't happy with, and the club obviously realized that it was probably a better decision to let him walk away and clear up $850,000, dollars worth of salary cap. And I'm actually quite glad, because he was playing a game for a team he clearly didn't want to be at. And you look at giving the opportunity to someone like Sam Hughes, who by all accounts is training the house down. He's playing 40-odd, 50-odd minutes now for us, making, close to 30 tackles, averaging about 120, 130 meters a game, not making, silly errors and things like that, showing aggression. And for me, it's like, well, we're building into the future. If it's not working with Tavita, and he's asked to leave, and the club's happy to let him go, and, they're parting ways, I've actually forgotten that Tavita even played for us. Like, that's how good this has been so far for us. Honestly, it's good. Like, well, I don't even remember we let go of so many players last year, but I'm already sort of, like you look at Kurt Morin. The guy is 5 foot.
I love Kurt Morin.
He's amazing.
He's a gun. He's. I was a bit because is this his first week back from that suspension?
Yeah, so yeah, it's first week back
Yeah.
in suspension.
I was like, oh, why couldn't it be one more week? But yeah, he's a
Yeah.
gun. I really like Curtis Morton. When I listened to the Levels podcast, I heard Willie talking about it. I was like, yeah, I agree with that sentiment. The guy hooks in. He reminds me. You kind of got another one in Joshy Curran's another one I really like
Oh,
too.
bro, Curran is
I,
by the year. By the year.
he is sensational. He's very much like reminds me a lot of one of your ex players that now plays for us, who happens to play his 150th game actually against you guys in Adam Elliott.
Yeah.
But just involved in everything, tackles
Yeah.
for days. I really do like Joshy Curran and Curtis Moran. I think he's an absolute gun.
Bro, his Curran's fast becoming one of those cult heroes at the Bulldogs because he's so tiny, but he's got the heart, he's got the
Mm,
aggression, and he runs at a million miles an hour. He'll break tackles that other big props probably won't do because he doesn't stop, and he's got the energy, and
mm,
Ciro's put faith in him, and I like that because I think they're the types of people that make your club great. They're the types of players that come in and earn their place. It's not like, hey, you've got the name or you've
yeah.
got the size or you've got the flamboyance. We want you in there. No, it's like he earns every meter that he runs. He earns every tackle that he makes. He's
Mm.
never one to drop off a tackle. So it's just I love it, man. I'm so happy he's back,
How's our boy Curdy Man going for you?
bro. What a player!
Mm,
He against the Roosters. I am 100% certain that man should be our starting lock for the rest of the year. The way he was able to distribute the ball, neither Salmon neither Salmon wasn't able to do. Curran's pretty good. I don't know how he'll go starting at lock, but the way that man was able to pass so smoothly across both sides of the
mm.
field actually made our attack so fluent. You just see it's what unlocked Taff to be able to attack so well as well, because he was just able to get the ball out early, and Burton was like, yep, there you go, yep, there you go, but there you go. And it was remarkable how much he added to coming on starting. And to be honest, even when he was coming off the bench for us, he added a lot both in attack and defense. And man, my God, what a buy! Like everyone was sort of
Mm.
joking, oh, you bought so many utilities, but you know what,
He's a gun, man.
they've been fantastic.
One unfortunately for Kurt Man with us, and he actually has the record for playing the most positions for us. I think he played everything from fullback, center, wing, lock, hooker, 5'8". He played everything, man,
Everything.
half everything. And when he came to the club, I think his first year for us was 2019. It would have been 2019. It was after Piercy, first year. And if we had him at 5'8", full preseason 5'8", into that, it was his best year for us. And then
Wow.
he was a victim to his own versatility, Kurt Man.
Yes, yes, yes,
He
yes.
was, he would, yeah. I can only imagine as an athlete, you're going, all right, Kurt, we're going to need you in the forwards more this year, man. So we're going to need you to put 10 kegs on or whatever. So you're
Yeah.
changing body, all that stuff, right? And you could see a great football player. He was great. You could play. He was jokingly. It's funny his name was Kirk because he reminded me a lot of Kirk Gidley. You just mate, you can play
Yes,
Kurt
yes, yes, yes,
you can
yes,
literally
yeah.
put Kirk Gidley in the prop forwards and he'd do your job. He's just one of those guys. You just found a way to do a job. He coached. He captained the Blues from the bench somehow.
I
So you could
I actually, yeah, I remember that. I
he could
remember
do
that.
everything, but he was just a victim to his own versatility, Kurt Man. But he always did a job. He had
Yeah,
a couple of
yeah,
little
yeah.
injury things and that, but it was unfortunate for us. It's just the way the roster was forming for us. We kind of didn't have that, especially once we bought Price and we had because the criticism at the time when we got Tyson Gamble was, well, we got Kurt Mann. Why are we?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For us, it just didn't. The balance of the roster wasn't quite there. So
And then
it's
you
good
got
to see him
Cogger,
kicking
so
goals.
it's like,
Yeah, Cogger on top of that. So
yeah.
it was good. I'm glad to see he's found his feet because I can't say, unfortunately, I haven't watched. I did watch a game last week, but I haven't actually had a chance to watch Kurt Mann really run around for you guys
He's
too
been
much yet.
fantastic. He's been so good. Like he's worth his weight in gold. Just just having him at lock. Honestly, he threw an offload for one of the Burton tries. He threw some great ball just across both sides of the field. Yeah, he's been fantastic for us.
Is he injured or?
Yeah, he broke his hand. So he actually made a
Oh,
tackle on
true.
he made a tackle on, I think it was either Sam Walker, I don't actually remember, or maybe Kurt. Luke Keary, and he was running the ball out, and he sort of tackled them into the post, and his hand got jammed behind the player, and he
I
broke
did
the
hear
tackle.
that. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
how
and he broke his
unlucky.
hand.
No,
Yeah,
he's a
very, very
gun, man.
unlucky.
Always like Curdy, man. Good player. Good player.
Yeah. So look, man, we've there's been such a mad chat. I honestly don't want it to stop, but I think for the sake of the podcast, for the sake of all the viewers, I think we're gotta end it somewhere.
Might have to do a part 2, mate. Might have to do a part
Hey,
2 sometime.
hey, we got to do a part 2 later in the year. 100%. I'm always down for it, man. It was just such a
Let's
pleasure
do
to
it.
talk to you. It's been fantastic. Okay, predictions. What is your prediction for the game?
Prediction. Now look, I know it's going to sound incredibly biased. I do have us 1-12, respectively a 1-12. I don't think we're
Yeah,
going to go down there and blows off the park by all means. The Knights historically been one of these clubs that we sometimes go in a game thinking we should beat these guys. We're better than them on paper, and we get our pants pulled down. So
yeah,
I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a very good quality game. I think you're going to
I
see a
agree.
lot of free flowing attacking football. I think these coming in these clubs are in a similar area. I just think our forward pack outdoes yours. I think with Leo, the Safs, Jack Hetherington's been great. I think we're just a bit bigger than you guys at this point in time. And I think that's where you'll see us sort of trying to build on from that. So I want to see Jacko and Cogs play a good game off the back of that. So I do have us winning, mate. Let's chuck it out there. I've got the Knights 16-10. Let's put it that.
Fair call. Fair call. I have the doggies 13 plus. And it's an
What?
extreme. Yes, I have the doggies 13 plus. It's very
Oh
biased.
my! Here I am trying to be a gracious visitor. Oh,
my
mate!
God.
If you'd have started with that, mate, the whole tone of the show changed. Is it too late to change mine now?
It's too late, bro. You've called it. It's too late.
Against the team that pumped you into the earth last year, you're going to lay that on me. You're just going to slip the boot into the last moment. Nice.
I'm telling you, the Bulldogs are going to come out on fire. And I'm very biased, and I really want to see us sort of avenge the loss. That's the only reason. It's because I want to see our team come out there and avenge the losses of last year. And I think the players will have it in the back of their minds what happened. And you're going to see them come out quite aggressive, quite fiery. There's a very good chance that I'm going to have egg on my face come Sunday afternoon. I will be at that game as well. So he's hoping we do get the 13 plus. I just think that our defense has been incredible. And our attack, if and when it clicks, will just cause a lot of grief for the Knights. And I just think that Kickout, Burton, Fox, Sherry will just be an absolute nightmare for you guys. Your forward pack will be a problem, but I do think that we've come up against some good forward packs, and we've been able to keep them at bay. Like if you look at the Roosters, for example, they have one of the biggest, most aggressive forward packs in the game, and I thought we were able to match it with them. And especially if Max King ends up coming into the team, which I think he will, it gives us a very, very good chance of going down there, going to Accor Stadium and really putting on a show for the Doggy supporters, especially to avenge those absolutely embarrassing losses we had last year.
I can tell you now, mate, the Knights and the Bulldogs have played 6 times at Accor Stadium on a Sunday. We've won 3 and we've lost 3. So we're right split down the middle, pal. So
I'm so excited. It'll be such a good game. I just reckon it's going to be such quality.
It will be. I'm hoping so, mate. I'm hoping so. I think there's nothing worse when you lose and you're off. You just you know what I mean. You weren't in it. They're the worst games. They're the worst games. So as long as the boys play good, solid 80 minutes, the rest will take care of itself. But mate, you really stung me with that 13 plus, mate.
Sorry, I know you're my host. I'm supposed to be more gracious. Arabs are usually more gracious to their host. Look, it's been lovely to host you. It's just I'm a one-eyed doggy. I'm a one-eyed doggy supporter. Man. What can I say? I just want to see them avenge it.
That's all right, brother. Well, let's do this again in part 2, eh?
I love it.
I'll be very, very keen to touch on this in part 2.
It'll be fantastic to do this part 2, especially if we'll see how things pan out. We'll do a part 2. And man, Lincoln, it's been absolutely lovely to have you, man. I've really enjoyed every second of this chat. You know what? I got into podcasting just so I can have a banter, have talk some shit, have some fun watching footy. As we were saying, you know, off air, footy's sort of built on the banter, on the sort of the tribalism of the clubs. And I think you know, you guys were down in the doldrums for a long time. You sort of know how we are, and now we're sort of making a comeback. So we can always you know, understand where we sit with each other. I really look forward to the game, and I look forward to doing this again with you. Just all our supporters, be sure to like the United on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on TikTok. Lincoln, I'll have the links down below in the YouTube video. Be sure to subscribe to the Kennel podcast. You know, all the socials, I'll have them down the bottom below. Anything, any last words, Lincoln, before we wrap up?
Abdul, it's been an absolute pleasure, brother. I can't believe how long we've been talking. You know, it's a great show when you look down like, oh my God, where the night
55 minutes. Yeah, I know. It's been excellent, man.
Right, yeah, crazy. Nah, greatly appreciated, mate. Truly. But I'm sure we'll be exchanging messages maybe through the game or thereafter, mate. So,
absolutely, have to. And we'll see you on part 2. We've got to definitely have to do a part 2 because there's been some shit talk that needs to be spoken about in part 2 after the game.
Lock it in, brother. Lock it in. Part 2 is coming, mate. The sequel will be even better. It's even better.
Sequel will be even better.
All right.
Thanks, Lincoln. It was lovely to speak to you, man. Have a great afternoon.
No worries, brother. Appreciate it.